Now these gonads, they also do secrete hormones, okay? And these hormones, they do impact a lot on the physiology of human beings, of mammals, on the growth and development of mammals. So the gonads include testes in males and ovaries in females, okay? So ovaries in females and the testes in males. And in reproduction, you study the reproductive organs, the internal and external, but mostly the internal, you'll be able to relocate where the testes are and the ovaries. Now, these gonads, they do produce most of the body's sex hormones. Okay? We saw that the adrenal glands, they do produce some sex hormones, and in this case it is estradiol, we can say, or estrogen and progesterone. Now they do produce them, but at puberty there will always be a robust, okay, of these sex hormones to bring about significant changes in the structure and the physiology of a mammal. So this robust of these hormones comes from these gonads, okay? They are these gonads that are going to produce these hormones to bring about the changes that occur at puberty. And we are going to see the effect, and we are going to talk about the control of secretion of these hormones. And so these hormones include testosterone. Now this is a male hormone. It is prominent in males, and it is responsible for formation of males' secondary sexual characteristics, as we are going to see. Then we have estrogen. Now this is a female hormone, and it is responsible for formation of secondary sexual characteristics in females. And then we have progesterone hormone. Now this one is responsible for maintaining of the uterine walls, okay, before or in preparation of the fertilized ovum. Now the testis primarily synthesizes androgen, which is testosterone, okay, and the main androgen being testosterone. Now what happens at puberty? The brain or the pituitary gland is going to release FSH, okay? Now this FSH is going to saturate in blood to the testis, and not all cells in the testis, but there are specific cells in the testis called the Leydig cells. Leydig cells. They are the ones that receive, they are the target cells of this FSH. They are the ones that have the receptors for receiving the FSH. So when they are stimulated by the FSH, then they are going to synthesize this testosterone. Okay? Now this testosterone, it is the one that is going to bring about the secondary sexual characteristics. Okay? As we are going to see. And it will mark the onset of spermatogenesis, formation of male sperms, male reproductive cells. Okay? And so this hormone is key. In other words, a male must be able to produce normal levels. And so this hormone stimulates development and maintenance of the male reproductive system, okay, which is a secondary sexual characteristic. Imagine at puberty, if you observe your kid, your brother, your son, your cousin, before 14, before puberty, before the onset of puberty, they always have tiny reproductive organs, okay? But at puberty, then there will be an increase, a reasonable increase in this hormone, this testosterone, and this testosterone leads to development of male reproductive organs, okay, and other secondary sexual characteristics such as deepening of the voice, a young kid will speak, yes, yes, yes. But now when a kid is something like 16, then the man will be speaking, okay? And you wonder how the changes happened from that kiddish voice to an adult voice, that deepened voice. Having six packs, you can imagine where is my peak? It is here. You can imagine formation of these muscles. It is the influence of testosterone. Testosterone causes increase in muscles and body mass. So a kid of 10, by the time a kid is just 16, 18, you'll be seeing packs. I know you like packs most. So what are you going to do to have packs? You're going to start feeding on testosterone? I don't know. Beards. Formation of beards. These beards, it is a secondary sexual characteristics. You can't find beards in kids, but they will be formed starting from puberty and onwards. Okay? Now all of those are influences of testosterone. Wet dreams. Boys here understand that better. Okay? It is due to influence of testosterone. So this testosterone is usually taken as a supplement to cause muscle growth, and this carries out many risks. So people who gym, weightlifters here, anybody with a career in weightlifting, this is your hormone. So somebody, actually, this is the right time to answer your question. Somebody asked me about the anabolic steroids, and this is one of them. So anabolic steroids, those are steroid hormones or steroids that can be synthesized, okay, within a laboratory, within an industry. They are not normal steroids produced within our bodies. So you synthesize these steroids, and then you've seen that one of the functions is to cause muscle contraction, to bring about six packs. So this person with an interest of having six packs is going to consume enough, okay, in order to gain the six packs. However, this one is associated with a number of health risks, but it's most especially the cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so you people, yes, you may like the six packs, you may like the packs, but it's not good. You get the packs naturally. Let your body synthesizes the hormones in required quantities, and then the body forms the packs. That is if you want them. So in case you have a question, you can always drop it in the chat box. Then with female hormones, we have estrogen, which is a common female hormone that is responsible for bringing about the secondary sexual characteristics, depending of the voice. Yes, yeah. A kid grows, but sorry, a girl grows, but the voice keeps on deepening. So it is under the influence of this hormone and other secondary sexual characteristics, as we are going to see them. So these ones, they are responsible for maintenance of the female reproductive system. That is enlargement of the female reproductive organs and the preparation of the system to receive, to be able to reproduce, to receive a baby, the baby able to grow within that system until maturity, until when the baby comes out. Okay? So all that, it is under the influence of this hormone. Then, development of secondary sex characteristics, such as hips. Do I have any pic? Do I have any pic? There is this one, such as hips. There is menstruation. Now, girls here know this better. Okay? Each month you must go under menstruation. you must carry out menstruation. And it is normal. Regardless, you shouldn't even fear to talk about. Okay? Because it's normal. A normal woman, a normal lady, a normal girl must undergo menstruation. That is if you are not on family planning. That is even being a balloon. So it is this hormone that is responsible for this. Maybe let's talk about it briefly. Let's talk about it briefly. So ladies have a calendar, okay, that runs from day one. I'm not going to talk about safe periods because no one is safe, so I won't talk about them. So that runs from day one up to day 28. So this is the ladies' calendar. And day one is marked that day, that first day of menstruation. That very first day, that is day one. Okay? Up to something like day 5. Okay? Now, the whole of this, it is menstruation. Okay? The red is under menstruation. Yes, blood might stop oozing out at day 2 or day 1, depending on a given lady, but we usually assume the whole of this is menstruation. Now, what is menstruation? You are shedding off the uterine wall. If this is the uterus, you are shedding it off. Okay? And so from from day 5 up to something like day 14, okay? Here you are preparing a new ovum. So the whole of this, it is for preparation of the new ovum, okay? And at day 14, that's when you're going to ovulate. And from day 5, okay, here you are repairing, okay? And now it is this hormone, estrogen, that is responsible for repairing of the uterine walls to build them further. So that at day 14, it is the uterine wall, the endometrium is, has built up to be able to receive the fertilized egg. Okay? Now what happens if fertilization does not occur? Then you're going to release this ovum. Now from day 14 up to day 28, this ovum will be waiting for the sperm. But fertilization can only take place from 14 up to around plus 2 days. So beyond these 2 days, from 14, 15, and 16, fertilization cannot occur. So from here, the uterine wall will be maintained, the endometrium will be maintained up to this level, okay, where it becomes, should I say, hopeless. It loses hope that there is totally nothing that is going to come. And so if it loses hope, then it will be shed off again, okay, and you go back here, and the cycle is repeated, okay, and you reach here, you go back here, and so you keep repeating the same cycle, the same cycle, the same cycle. Now, how does the body know that let me now carry out menstruation, let me now build the endometrium, let me now ovulate, that this one will be ready waiting for me? It is these reproductive hormones. They are the ones that do interact, okay, to bring about this menstruation period. And this is key, okay, this is key in reproduction, that if you cannot do all this, if you are unable to carry out this, then you cannot give birth. So what happens is, it is this estrogen that is responsible for repairing, building of the uterine wall. So meaning from here to here, you'll have a high level of estrogen hormone. Now the question is, how are you going to determine that? It is the hypothalamus, the pituitary. Now somebody is calling me. I won't pick. So it is the hypothalamus and the pituitary that are responsible, okay, to maintain that. Now what happens is the stimulus is at day 28, okay, there will be a drop in both the estrogen, okay, and the progesterone hormones. These two hormones, their levels is going to drop, okay, and so as a result, the endometrium is going to be shed off. Now, the drop in estrogen and progesterone hormone, it is a stimulus that will be detected by the hypothalamus, okay, to release a releasing hormone, okay. Now this hormone will be received by the pituitary gland, okay. The releasing hormone is, let me write it, is gonadotropin releasing hormone, okay. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. So this one will be received by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland to release another tropin hormone, which is FSH, which is the follicle stimulating hormone. Now this FSH, we saw it. It is the one that will move, that will saturate within blood to the ovaries, okay, to the ovaries. Now what happens in the ovary? Now if you've studied Genesis, it will be okay. But in the ovary you have there what we call a Graafian follicle, which is an ovum that is developing surrounded by the granulosa cells, these ones. So what happens is this FSH stimulates these granulosa cells to produce a hormone called estrogen. And it also, as these cells begin to increase in size and produce estrogen hormone, then the ovum also, it will also increase. It will also divide. Now, the problem we haven't studied with Genesis, so I can't talk about. So, it will also divide, okay? It also proceed to meiosis too. So, in other words, to also prepare to receive a sperm. Let me summarize it that way. Now, as you are forming estrogen hormone, then this estrogen hormone is going to be transported to this endometrium, and when it reaches there, it is going to increase, it is going to build. Now that one happens after menstruation. So it will build this endometrium back in order to prepare it for implantation. Okay? Now the increasing levels of estrogen hormone has a negative feedback on the production of follicle stimulating hormone. But it also has a positive feedback that you inhibit the release of FSH, but you promote the release of LH, luteinizing hormone. Okay? Now if the levels are high, if the estrogen levels have increased enough, then you will release this LH. Now the LH is released at around day 13. Now, why are you releasing the LH? One, the LH has two effects. That it will cause this Graafian follicle that has been formed to burst, okay? And when it bursts, it will release an ovum, okay? This ovum here, it will be released into the fallopian tube, and that process is called ovulation. So LH induces ovulation. Now these follicular cells that will remain here, remember they will burst and release the ovum, and so these follicular cells, they will remain, and if they remain, they will ripen, okay, and form what we call a corpus luteum. Luteum is a Greek word, Greek or Latin, something, Greek word, which means ripening. So this corpus luteum, okay, it has those follicle cells that have ripened. Now there are those cells that will produce this progesterone hormone. Now the progesterone hormone has one function, that in high levels it will maintain this endometrium from being shed. Okay? Why are you doing that? So that in case this ovum fertilizes, in case fertilization occurs, okay, then this fertilized zygote should be able to move and implant. Okay? So that for these 2 weeks, for these 14 days, the endometrium will be there to support, okay, this zygote that has been implanted. Now, why am I saying the 14 days, the 2 weeks? This corpus luteum can last for a period of 14 weeks. Okay? 14 days, not weeks. Those are 2 weeks. Now, beyond the 14 days, the corpus luteum is going to degenerate. And so if it degenerates, then the levels of progesterone hormone reduces, and so the levels of estrogen hormone also decrease. And if fertilization didn't take place, then the endometrium is going to be shed off and you go back to this. But if fertilization took place, then by 14 days you'll be able to form a placenta. Okay, now that placenta is going to produce a hormone called it is called HCG. I thought you wanted to try. Human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. Gonadotropin hormone. Now this HCG, it has one primary role, and the role is to sustain this corpus luteum, these follicular cells, to persist for some good time, like a month. Instead of degenerating for 2 weeks, it goes for something like a month, so that it keeps the levels of progesterone hormone high, so that you maintain this endometrium. Okay, to give enough time for the placenta to fully mature, to take up the role of producing the progesterone hormone. Is that okay? Yes. So basically, that's how these hormones are going to interact to bring about the changes that you see, the menstruation, and when you get pregnant or when you conceive, you cannot undergo menstruation. You cannot menstruate. Why? I've talked about it. The levels of, during pregnancy, the levels of progesterone will always be high, and estrogen hormone, they will always be high. Okay? This one repairs and this one maintains. So they will always be high. Why? The placenta secretes the progesterone hormone, and the corpus luteum will stay. It won't degenerate because of this hormone. Actually, this is the hormone that can easily be detectable when they are testing for pregnancy. It is usually passed out in urine. So when you test somebody's urine, when you sample it out, to test positive for this hormone. And so then you'll be able to conclude that somebody is pregnant. So I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to check for your questions. In case you have some questions, let me go and see what you have posted.